and welcome to online course on Python programming. In today's video, we will learn about decision making statements and flow control. So in decision making statements, we will cover if else, if elif else and nested if statements. And in flow control, we will see for loop with else statement, while loop with else statement, break and continue, and finally the pass statement. Now, what are decision making statements? Now in programming, you will always have to make some decisions. So the decision will be in the form of, say, if statement. The first example shows you the if statement. That is, if some condition is true, then in that case only you go and execute this code. The second type of decision making statement is if else statement. So in this, if this condition is true, then execute this code. Else, if this condition is false, in that case execute this code. And lastly, if elif and else statement. Now you may have multiple elif statement, but there will be only one if statement and one else statement. You may have multiple elif. Okay, so suppose if this condition is true, you will execute this code. If this condition is false, okay, then the interpreter will check whether for the second condition, that is whether this second condition is true or not. You may have multiple second, third, fourth condition, but suppose if all these elif statements are false, then finally the interpreter will execute this code written under else statement, that is this code. Okay, so in this way the decision making is done. Now let us see with this with the help of example. Now first example is if statement. Now what I have done, I have assigned x equal to 30, then y equal to 5. Then the syntax is if, then I'm checking that if x is greater than y or not. Okay, so x is greater than y, this is the condition, followed by a colon. If this condition is satisfied, then and then only it will print this statement. It is what we are trying to print. It is again a placeholder over here, placeholder of 0 index, placeholder of index 1. Okay, so is greater than, then again we have in the previous video we have seen the format function, string formatting. So in the format function we have written x and y. So it is good. In this case x is greater than y, that's why it is printing 30 is greater than 5. Okay, then second is if else statement. Then we have defined x equal to 3, y equal to 5. Now we are checking whether this x is greater than 5 or not, or x is greater than y or not. Again we are printing. Now in this case I have used the index number. Okay, just to revise your concepts. So index placeholder 1, placeholder this second, having index 0 and 1. So if x is greater than y, it will print this. In this case x is less than 5 y. Okay, so that's why this statement will not get executed, because x is less than y. Else it will print that 5 is greater than 3, means it will execute this statement. Okay, So in this way if else works. Now the third statement is your if elif and else statement. Now I have declared x equal to 5, y equal to 5. Okay, the first condition is if x is greater than y, so the condition is false, x is equal to y, so it will not execute these statements. The next elif, else if, it is a short form else if. So in this programming language the elif is there. In other programming language you may have seen else if, so it is similar to it. So elif x is less than y, again this condition is not satisfied, again this will not be printed. Else x is equal to y, so it is showing you 5 is equal to 5, means this condition is executed. In the second example I have changed the value of x to 3. Okay, now the same line of code is there. What it is printing now, x is less than 3. We can compare manually also. So that is 3 is less than 5. So the first condition is not satisfied, so it will not execute this code. Second, this condition is satisfied, hence this code is executed and this code is not executed. Okay, so in this way the if, elif and else statement works. Now this is about the decision making statements. Now there are some nested conditions as well you may face. Okay, so what are these nested if statements? The nested if statements means there will be more number of if statements inside one if statement. Okay, so in this example I have given x is equal to 7, y equal to 5. Okay, if x is greater than equal to y, okay, what I am checking, if x is greater than equal to y, if this condition is satisfied, then only it will enter into this loop. Okay, so the current condition is satisfied, that is x is greater than y. Okay, so it will enter into this loop. Now there is one more if statement which is called as nested inside another if statement. So what this if statement is checking, whether it is x is greater than y or not. Okay, if this condition is satisfied, then it will execute this code. So it is satisfying this condition, so it will print 7 is greater than 5. Okay, remaining code will not work because this is getting executed. Okay, now another example, now I have reduced the value of x to 3. Now the answer, you know that 3 is less than 5. But how this works? First of all, it will check that whether this condition is satisfying or not. So this outer if statement is not satisfied, so and hence it will not go inside these statements. Okay, it will not go here. If this if is not satisfied, then it will go to else. Okay, and then it will print 3 is less than 5. Okay, so you have to be very careful about the indentation. Okay, so indentation is very required. Now you must have seen in other languages that after if statement you used to give this curly bracket, that is if x compares with y, then some set of statements gets executed. But in this case, in the case of Python, there are no starting and closing of curly brackets. Okay, the coding of Python works only with the help of indentation. So what is indentation? So if you are writing here if, okay, so if you want to go inside the loop, you have to give a tab over here. Okay, so that indicates it is a body of the above if statement. Again, if you want to write the body of this if statement, then you have to give a tab, single tab over here to indicate that this line of code is a part of this if statement. Okay, and similarly the else part we have to write exactly below it. The else part you have to write exactly below it, means it corresponds to this if statement. Similarly, with the help in the case of this else corresponds to this else statement. Okay, so you have to be very careful. The indentation is required and it is mandatory. So this is about nested if statements. Now let us see what are flow control, that is loops or other statements. Now first, very important and mostly used loop is for loop. You have also seen this for loop in other languages as well. Okay, so what is the syntax of this for loop? So for a value in a sequence. Now a sequence will consist of this, maybe it is a list or tuple or string or dictionary or anything. Okay, so for a value in a sequence, then you have to give colon, followed by again you have to give a tab. So this, and then you have to write the body of the loop. It is demonstrated in the this actual code. Now in this case a list is created. In the previous video we have seen the list can be created with the square bracket. Okay, so list is created having 6 elements 1 2 3 4 5 8, and then the for loop is used for I in A, means this A refers to this, means it will search, it will go as per the value of A's. Okay, and then I have given one tab key over here, so that this print statement belongs to this for loop. Okay, now I am printing the values of I. So first it is printing 1 because in the element you are having 1, right? When in the second case it will print the value of 2 because second element is 2, and finally last element is 8, and that's why you are getting last element as 8. So in this way you can print the contents or elements of a string of an list in a sequential manner. So this is the demonstration of a for loop. Now you can also use this for loop with the help with else statement as well. So this is the example and syntax of for loop with else statement. So again this remains constant, only you have to add again exactly below of this, else you have to write exactly below of this. Okay, so if the body of for loop is executed completely, then it will print this statement. Okay, this is the syntax. So how it will work, I have again created this, I have used the same list A equal to 1 2 3 4 5 8. For I in A print I, oh, I have only added this, that is else print empty, means after reading all the elements in the list it will print empty. So 1 2 3 4 5 8, and finally it has printed the empty. So in such way you can use else statement with the for loop. Now there is one more very important function, that is a range function. So the range function is used when you want to run for loop sequentially from one number to another. Okay, means like in your normal programming languages, that is C++ language. This is a for loop. That is, suppose you want to run the for loop from 0 to say 9. Okay, so how to execute such codes in Python language? So for I in, instead of sequence, now I am using a range function. Okay, so range starting point is 0 and ending point is 10. That is this condition. I will be start from 0. It will check the condition, that is I is less than 10 and I plus plus. Okay, so this means it will contain the 10 elements. The second number represents the number of elements in the range. Okay, so it will print I, and after printing all the elements in the range, it will print empty. So the output is shown over here. First of all, it will print 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And as soon as this condition does not satisfy, that is I becomes 10, it will terminate the for loop and it will go over else, and then it will print the empty. So in this way, the range function works. Okay, this is very, very important. You may require it several times. Now you can also use range function and list simultaneously in a one program. So you have already seen range function is used when you want to run for loop sequentially from one number to another. Okay, but sometimes you may require to run the for loops for the same number of times, which is equal to the total elements present in the list. So in this list there are 4 elements, and suppose you want to run this for loop 4 times. In that case, you can use a len function. So what is the purpose of len function? It is to get number of elements in a sequence. Okay, so you have to execute code in such way that is a equals to 1594 is the list. Now for I in range, now inside this range function you have to give len 4. Okay, so means it will be like 0 comma 4. Okay, and then it will be executed. So first it will print 0, 1, 2 and 3, 4 elements. Okay, and then it will print empty at last. So this is for loop with range function along with the list and a len function. Okay, now next is for loop with break statement. Okay, so what is this break? Let us see. Break statements basically breaks the execution of further part of the loop. Now to demonstrate this, I have created a list A having 5 elements. Now for I in A, print again a tab, means these all this function, all the statements are inside for loop. Okay, now there are 2 tabs, means now this break statement is inside if statement. Okay, so first of all I will take the value of 1. Okay, so it will print I equal to I, means it will print I equal to 1, which is the first element in the list. Now it will check, after this it will check if I compares with 3. If I compares with 3, so 1 is not equal to 3, means it will not go in this break statement, will not be executed. Okay, then again second time I plus plus will occur. It will read 5 to I. Okay, now I equal to 5, so it will print I equal to 5. Again it will check if I compares with 3, so no, 5 does not compares with 3, so again this will not be executed. So again it will read 6, it will read 6, which will be transferred to I. Again this statement will not be executed. But after that, when I becomes 3, okay, what will happen? The 6 they already printed, I becomes 3. First of all, this statement will executed. Then if statement, if I compares with 3, and now yes, I compares with 3, and hence it will go inside this, and this break statement will execute it. Okay. So that you can observe over here in the output window, you are not getting the 8th element, that is this 5th element. This is not printed, means it has break the code. Okay, so whatever the item you were searching, you have found it, so that's why it will break the loop. Now the break is written inside this if statement. So remember one thing very clearly, that this break statement will break the loop, as we have already seen. It will not only break the if statement, it will break the loop wherever it is written. Okay, now let us have an example, that is, suppose there is one more for loop. Just to understand the break statement, suppose there is one more for loop over here. Okay, so what this break statement will do, it will only break the statement, it will only break the for loop which is immediate to it. Okay, so means this break will only work for this for loop and not for the above for loop. Okay, you have to remember this. This break will only break this for loop. Now in the second case, in the second example, again the same list, again the same statements. Instead of 3, I am comparing with the 10, means item is not present in the list. So you can see it has displayed all the elements of a list, and finally this break statements is never executed. Okay, so after completing this, it is gone straight to else, and it has printed that item is not found. Okay, so in this way you can use the break statement. Now next is the while loop. Again it is important. Now we have seen in the for loop, we know that how many times the for loop is to be run. Now while doing actual programming, often we do not know that how many times the particular code should run. So in this case we use the while loop. Okay, so we generally use this loop when we do not know the number of times to iterate beforehand. Okay, so what is the syntax of this while loop? While condition, again one tab you have to give, then body of a while loop. Okay, I have explained with this with the help of example. I have set the value of a equals to 1. Okay, now this is the while loop and this is the condition. Now this loop will run till this condition is not satisfied. Okay, now first of all, value of a is 1. It will check the here. So yes, the condition is true. It will go inside the while loop. Now it will print the value of a, which is 1. Okay, now a will be incremented. So here the value of a will be equal to 2. Again it will go back, that is here. Now again it will check whether a is less than 10. Yes, it is less than 10. Again the same will happen for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. As soon as this statements print 9, what will happen? Here the value of a, here the value of a will be equal to 10. It will go back and the condition will not be satisfied. Okay, so it will print this statement, that is else, while condition like is satisfied, means it is over, all the conditions are satisfied and the loop is over. Or you can also write here why condition is not satisfied. To avoid any confusion, you can write here while condition is not satisfied and hence it is printing the while condition is not satisfied. Okay, the correction you have to make over here. So I hope the while loop is clear to you. We have already taken the break statement. Okay, but again this is with the help of an example. I have explained it over there, but again this is the example. This is break and continue. Okay, so in Python, break and continue statements can alter the flow of normal loop. We have already seen. Okay, so for example, I will directly take the example of this case. So suppose for loop you are using, so for val in a string, in earlier case we have taken the example of list. Now in this case there is a string. Okay, so if val is compares with I, what is the condition? Val compares with I, then break. Okay, again you have to keep checking indentation. Here is a tab. Okay, and this print is inside the for loop. So what it is printing for the first case, it will check s compares with I. So no, it will not break, it will print the value. Okay, means it will print the s in output. Again it will take a t, again t will be compared with I, again it will print t. Then third character, that is r, again r does not compare with I, so it will also print r. And next, when val becomes I, when val is equals to I, so it will break this for loop. Okay, and it will not print the value of val, it will directly go at the end of for, that is the code will jump outside the for loop, means this. Okay, so this statement is outside the for loop, that is the end, so it will display the end at the end. Okay, so this is one more example relating to break statement. Now similar to break, there is another statement which is continue statement. Now continue statement is used to skip the rest of the code inside a loop for the current iteration only. So loop does not terminate but continues on with the next iteration. Let us see with this the help of example. Again the same example we have taken. So for loop is used for val in string. If val compares with I, you have to continue. Okay, let us see step by step. So first value of val is equal to s. Okay, so if it will check whether this is equal to this, so no, so it will not go into continue, it will print the value, this s is printed. Then second, this val is equal to t, again the same thing will happen, it will not go into this loop, val will be printed. Similarly for r. Okay, but when the val becomes I, that is in the fourth element. Okay, so it will enter into continue, it will not print the statement. As a result of this, you are seeing I is not there in the output. Okay, you have skipped this statement when val compares with I. Okay, so it will skip this statement and it will increment it. So I will be skipped, then it will take value of n. Again, this will not be printed, only this will be printed, and then you are seeing n, you are seeing g. Okay, after this for loops is over, you are getting the end, which is over here. So in this way you can use continue statement to skip some part of the code. Again, one more important is that is pass. In Python programming, the pass statement is basically a null statement. It does nothing. But you may ask, what is the use of it? Now let us see. The difference between a comment and a pass statement in Python. The difference between comment and a pass statement in Python is that interpreter ignores a comment. Okay, but pass is not ignored. Interpreter ignores the comment, but pass is not ignored. The comments are usually written for the programmer to separate one block of code from another. Okay, but pass is not ignored. But what is the pass? You may ask that pass does nothing, so what is the purpose? But it has some purpose. Okay, so it results in no operation. We generally use it as a placeholder. Okay, now when this is used, so suppose we have a loop or a function that is not implemented yet, means you are in the process of developing it, but we want to implement it in the future, but you want some code to be written over there so that you cannot forget it afterwards. So that's why this pass is used. Now suppose you cannot create a function or a loop or a class with an empty body. Okay, so if you create such with an empty body, the interpreter will give you an error. So we use pass statement to construct a body that does nothing. Okay, so for example, if there is a loop, a sequence named sequence is equal to some this a b c d. Now for val in sequence, you have not written any body of this for, so you have not planned to write the body of this for loop, so you simply write pass, means now compiler interpreter will not give you an error. Similarly, in the function definition, you are defining a function with some arguments. Again, you have not decided to write the body of the function, so you simply write the pass. In the class example, if you are creating a class example, again you have not decided to write the body of the class, so you are simply writing the pass. Okay, means you have nothing to write at current moment, but you will write it in the future. That's why you are writing here pass. So again, this is a small topic. So that's all for today's lecture. So I hope you are liking my videos, and please do comment if you are liking the videos or you have any queries, okay, on the box below. And thank you for watching. Have a good day and happy learning.